What's going on? Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow is back at it once again, and this week we have a special two-part show recorded at the Sampler in Bushwick, Brooklyn. That's right, we're dropping two back-to-back episodes this week for your audio pleasure. In part one, BTBT hangs with the owners, Leo and Rich, who also happen to be some of FDNY's finest. We chop it up about their journey of purchasing and reopening the Sampler. We talk life, business, their influences, and lots of craft beer. Good conversation with good folks that we know you'll enjoy. Do you need that BTBT merchandise? No problems. We got you covered. Turn on your laptop, pull out your smartphone, or slide up to your desktops. Whatever, just get online and visit the BTBT store at beertodaybeertomorrow.com. The BTBT store has custom 16-ounce glassware and custom logo shirts. All proceeds go towards bringing you bigger, better, and more frequent and robust content. So what are you waiting for? Visit the BTBT store at beertodaybeertomorrow.com today. Hopefully you got brews in your hands or you're on your way to some. Either way, we hope you enjoy part one of a special two-part show featuring the Sampler. And stay tuned, part two drops tomorrow. Hey, what's going on? This is Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow. We are back at it. We're in Bushwick, Brooklyn at the Sampler. Guys, how you feeling?
Feeling good.
Ready for another show, another beer?
Absolutely, and we have two very, very special guests. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves.
This is Leo. I'm the co-owner of the Sampler Bushwick. I want to thank you guys for coming through.
My name's Rich Mercado, one of the co-owners.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for having us. So I guess the first question, why the Sampler? Why here? What made you guys get into this?
I was a customer. That's how it all started. I came here when they first opened up. I didn't really know much about craft beer. But when I started coming here, Joel Suarez was he was the bartender at the time. And I would just come here, sit, and just try flights of beer. Started to learn more and more about the beer and stuff. As the years went on, got to know, all the other bartenders, the owner and stuff like that. And it wasn't until, I guess, December of 16, we found out that it was possibly for sale. And it just kind of went from there. Every time I knew somebody, I would always invite them here because this was a place that I liked. Yeah. So I had friends that came from Germany. I had friends that came from Italy, from Belgium. I would always bring them here, and they loved it. And then a couple of times, I'd be put on social media. I'm sitting at the end of the bar. You come through, I'm buying. Leo would show up, a couple of other guys, and that's kind of like how it started rolling.
I usually tend to hang on the place when the guy's buying.
Yeah,
I show up.
That's always good. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so can you guys tell us a little bit about your backgrounds? It's just interesting to see. So you weren't coming from the craft beer scene, but you definitely grew to love and have an appreciation for craft beer. So what are you guys doing before this?
Well, Rich and I are both firefighters, so I know Rich from that, and Rich just made 19 years, and wow. I just made 18 years, and we actually worked in the beginning in the same area, but Rich at that time was like a rotation program, so he was out in Bay Ridge, and that's where I was assigned originally, but Rich came back to his original house, which was based out here in Bushwick. And I grew up in Bushwick. This was like my area. In terms of craft beer, I was introduced to craft beer, I guess, from Brooklyn Brewery. That's basically my introduction. I used to go there every Friday when they had those events, those tastings. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much where we got that from.
Here's a question out of left field. Are you guys familiar with the rapper Ka? K-A?
Yeah, I know Ka. Yes.
Yeah, do you know him personally? Or?
I know him personally. He's a captain over in Best-Eye, yeah.
Okay.
he's a awesome dude.
That's very cool.
We're talking about the captain?
Yeah.
Kasim?
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Okay.
He's a very, very nice guy.
He got into a little controversy, but that's, rapper does it,
Right.
That's
right.
what's up,
Yeah. He
keeps it real,
I saw all that in the paper. I was like, come on. Yeah. Okay.
What's the vibe like here? Like how would you describe the vibe here at the Sampler?
Well, it's funny because, like what Rich was saying, how this all came about was kind of funny. Like Rich would always be a regular. I used to come every once in a while, just pop in here and there. And there was that time when he said, I actually was drinking with him one day. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to own a place like this, you know? And Rich was like, well, yeah, just left it at that. You know, moving forward, bumped into him again, come over. And he's like, you know, remember that time you told me that, you know, it'd be cool to own a place? Well, they're selling the spot. I was like, really? It's like, okay, so what do you think? He's like, I don't know, what do you think? He's like, oh, fuck it, let's buy this place. It was kind of weird, and that was like our business.
That's how it kind of got kickstarted, so to speak.
That's how it got kickstarted. Yeah, exactly. Then we got in contact with the owners, and it was a long process. We negotiated, and that's how it came about. But for me, I always had that kind of. I always wanted to invest in something, especially a bar. My father used to own a bar restaurant in the Dominican Republic, and he was always into the business aspects. Mm-hmm. He was never like into the civil service, so he always worked on his own. And I've always dreamed about having a space where it could be, you know, with my background that shows everything about what we grew up with and things like that. And I think this is a perfect, you know, when this came about, it just organically just fell into place into what it is now.
That's what's up. So can you tell us a little bit about the process? So you guys were negotiating, you purchased a place, and what was that process like, and what was the process of actually getting this place back up and running?
It was a lot of hard lessons. We took a lot on, I mean, to sound funny, we took a lot of it on the chin with some of the shit that we kind of went through.
Right.
Listen, not to say that maybe some of it wasn't our own. You know, we have to take responsibility of that. You know, it all started out where everybody was very nice.
Right.
You know, we'll give you all the contacts. We'll do this. We'll come through and, you know, help you guys, because we all kind of knew each other. We knew each other because we were coming here.
Right.
But then, you know, we knew, but we also knew because we were coming here, some of the ins and outs. You know, and from other friends that would come here, if there was a day we weren't here, somebody would call or text me, yo, Rich, this just happened. So we kind of knew what was going on, and then as things were slowly, you know, coming around, I guess we could say we almost used that because we knew maybe it was a little slower, certain things were going on. We kind of knew, okay, we want to get out of it, whatever. But that was part of the process to everything that was, you know, kind of happening. It really shouldn't have been as bad as it was, maybe as it got towards the end. It should have been a turnkey situation. We should have just been able to walk in.
Right.
Whatever was here was left. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
I think from the business aspect, I mean, there was a lot of inexperience there.
Yeah.
So we learned the hard way of how to transfer business to one another. We knew the sample was great. I mean, it had a great rep from the get, you know. It's just a matter of the management. The management that was here before, for whatever reason, you know, whatever personal reason, they just had to get rid of the place. And that kind of worked to our advantage. But our naiveness said, okay, we buy this place. It took a while for negotiating, but we got to a certain level. We got there, and then we literally thought that, okay, we got the space, let's open up next week. And that didn't happen that way.
Yeah, well, that was the license issue, and that was part of it. We relied on the lawyers, the information from the lawyers, which we thought was going to be good.
Right.
And in hindsight, a lot of it we could have did on our own. But on the previous owner's end, everything was supposed to be transferred over. You know, we're fighting to get the email,
Right.
the website, all these little things and whatnot, and we can't get anything.
Wow.
And the license issue basically was, it should have been a transfer. We have a temporary, we have his, you know, in the interim. I'm going to say
It's been 4
maybe
months.
4 days. But 4 days after we closed,
Yeah.
we're sitting here just where we are now, and we're just going through some of the stuff. And then the text message is like, I just want to let you guys know I surrendered my license. And it was quite literally like, oh shit, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So we called the lawyer, and the lawyer says, look, there's two ways. You know, either he surrenders it in safekeeping, which is we would have a temporary,
Yep.
and we still have his available, or he just completely surrendered it. And he basically just surrendered it completely.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, we could have just opened up, kept everything the way that it was. I mean, we had beer and there was stuff that was here, so there would have been a little bit, you know, it would have been open. No, it didn't work out that way.
Wow.
So that was all part of the little process.
Why do you think that happened?
You know what? It's supposed to happen that way. That's why.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna have to answer that way for my own sanity and sake. Actually, no. It actually did kind of work out. I mean, it was funny because we saw the space the way it was. We knew we had to revamp it a little bit and bring some kind of life into it because it was dying out. It's like this thing that was so great at one point and it just like started slowly dying out. And it was like I didn't feel no life in it. So it didn't happen. We didn't open up. I come from an art and design background. Besides being a firefighter, that's what I went to school for. And I was like, you know what? Let's just start. We got time now. So let's just start, cleaning up the spot. Let's just make it to what we want it to be, at least. So in that sense, being closed for that long, it turned out to be like 4 months. We just had the time. Although the first month we were just like, oh man, what are we doing? Like there was no real concept. And we just sitting here like kind of almost depressed. Like what the hell we get into, Rich? We're doing good in FD, like we don't really need this. However, it's like, we're gonna make this happen. We're already in it, we're in the sea, we're swimming, we're gonna fucking make it to shore. And sure enough, it just hit. It just came organically. Like I was watching. It was during the summer, so I'm looking at all these tourists walking by and guides with looking at all this artwork. I was like, you know what? I got to get these people in here somehow. I'm also a big fan of the whole graffiti scene. And it just hit me just like a bolt. Like, you know what? Let's make this, old school, urban, Bushwick, New York, not just Bushwick, New York in general, what it's really about. Yeah. I was listening to these guys, and to be quite honest, I don't know what the hell they were talking about when they were talking about the graffiti on the walls, but like we have to teach these people a lesson a little bit here.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because this is a great location, great spot. This neighborhood has obviously changed a lot, and it's great to see a place like this where, let's be honest, this neighborhood is extremely gentrified now. It's good to see that some of the roots are still here. So I'm excited. I like this place a lot. Yeah. So when you guys, how long was it from you guys official owners to actually opening the doors the first day of business?
About 6 months.
No.
Well, it was July 28th or 24th when we closed. And we did a soft opening December 23rd, and January 5th we actually did the grand reopening.
Right. All right, it's not too bad. I remember when I heard initially the sampler closed under the previous management. It was like kind of a surprise. It almost kind of seemed like that was out of nowhere. It's like, what? Why did
I read that it was maybe like an infestation or something like that. Am I totally out of line here?
Wow, no, that didn't happen.
Okay.
No, it was just the process, the whole negotiations, the months that were going on. Listen, we did Taste of Bushwick, and we came in and we're like, all right, we're gonna be the new owners, and that was the whole big thing, right. And it was great. Yeah. We brought in, and part of like you asked like the vibe, and what Leo had mentioned, it's more of like we're not excluding anybody. We want to bring in a lot of the older people or original residents of the neighborhood. So it's more of a Spanish thing in a way. And absolutely. So we had beers. We had 3 different beers. We had a Puerto Rican moonshine from Morris Distillery called Pitoro. So they brought in and they gave us some stuff.
You're talking about the Taste of Bushwick.
Yeah. And with all that, we had empanada. So that was part of what we wanted to do.
Right.
But we were going to keep it open.
Yeah, it was kind of like a preview of what we wanted, our vision. It was more like, how do you say, like, we believe a lot in...
Like a taste of it.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a little taste of Bushwick. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
A little taste. Just enough to wet my beak, so to speak. But, we believe a lot in unity and diversity. So it's not about, I grew up in this neighborhood, so I knew what this neighborhood was about. Like, especially this area where we're at right now. Starr Street, Troutman, Jefferson.
Yeah.
And this area, was nasty. This was no joke. This was like, ground zero for the shit.
A lot has changed.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's crazy because I go to Maria Hernandez Park not too long ago. I'm walking by and I see people having a picnic there. Like, I had no clue what this was back in the day. And not only that, mentioning Maria Hernandez.
Yeah, why it was named.
Like, do you even know who Maria Hernandez was and what that's about? And they're like, no, who is she? It's like, well, that name didn't just come randomly. This was a woman that cared a lot about her community, didn't want to see, the drug dealing that was happening right in front of her building and stuff. And she made her words sound, and unfortunately, she sacrificed her life for that.
Wow.
So we want to pay homage to, people like that, like the real history of what Bushwick is about. Like, people should know what this is. And you know what? We mentioned this as, like, we were in the process of buying the place. We talked to people, like, the newcomers and old alike, and they were like, yo, this would be great if you guys could, like, really bring that to the table here. I think that's what the vibe that we're trying to create.
So it's kind of taking some of the old and blending it with the new.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Now, I should ask. I know that when you first started coming here, you had mentioned that you were pretty. You didn't know much about craft beer. So was there a time when you were just like, yeah, I'm just into some craft beer, and was there a certain style or beer that led to that?
You know what? In the beginning, I wasn't really into a lot of the IPA beers. It was just the taste. I mean, but even over the years, they've gotten a lot better. Double IPA, whatever it is. For me, I'm more of a Belgian beer guy. I've been to Germany. The beers were absolutely phenomenal. But again, over the years, whether it's an IPA, a stout, even an American-made saison like Gun Hill makes, they're phenomenal. So, I mean, I'll always like the Belgian beer, German beer, stuff like that. But there's a lot of good, American-made beers that are here, and it's just for me, it was just a process of tasting them. Even if it was bad, if I had a flight, it was not bad. But if I didn't like it, I just go on to the next one. But for us right now, or for me right now, there's still so many that are out there. It's just a learning process, to pick them all up, pick up all the nuances of the beer, and and stuff like that. That's where Joel comes in. Casey from KCBC, he used to work here, so he was one of those guys. When I would walk in, Rich, I got this beer for you, you gotta try it, because he knew what I liked, and that's part of having somebody like Joel, and whether it's Matt, Carla, or Boa that are here now, they can pick up on those things if they know somebody, kind of pick something out for them, what they'll particularly like.
That's a great question. I mean, that's that whole process of learning about the beer, but you're not really used to that whole culture. I mean, it's a relatively new culture when it comes to it, and I thought it was pretty amazing. From a guy that used to drink, private stock and Old E, back in the day, and then just graduating to the Heinekens and the Coronas, and then going to Brooklyn, which is where my real introduction to something different. I mean, just keep yourself open to trying new stuff. And in beer, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, you invest in what you like, and beer was it for me. Like, I love beer, so learning through the process, I tend to go towards the the IPAs, and that's where I'm at.
So currently, how many beers do you guys have on tap here?
Well, we have 20 taps.
Yeah.
I think 18 of them are on draft. But we also have a Rise cold brew. Mm-hmm. So we have a cold coffee, and we also do Prosecco.
Right. Okay.
So we have that. We also have that here. It's a little something that Joel put together, so you can get Prosecco as a regular pour, or we have a drink that we made up called the Chimosa.
Okay.
It's a take on a mimosa, so it's the Prosecco with passion fruit.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit of a twist, because if you use the word Chimosa, it's like a reference to a woman or a person that gossips too much.
Okay.
The Latin version of it.
Right.
So basically, instead of the mimosa, the orange juice, we went with passion fruit.
Yeah, you need to have bottomless chimosas.
There you go.
In Spanish, there'll be a lot of bochinchando,
Oh,
which
yes.
is all gossiping, a lot of talking.
By the way, I gotta give a shout to Joel, because honestly, what we were talking about when we were going to purchase this place, I told Rich, I don't really know much about running a bar.
Yeah.
So that was an aspect that we left out, and we got to really give shout out. He's not here right now. He's trying to make his way here. Was, okay, if we're going to do this, we got to bring somebody in that's been around. So Rich suggested Joel Suarez, a.k.a. Uptown Ales, a.k.a. Muffin Man, who's a good guy, who's an interesting character. This young guy, energetic, knows his craft, he knows the business from inside and out, and he became a godsend to us. So he was perfect fit Very energetic. I've been actually learning a lot of the new school language too, because he'd be saying it's lit and it's and you heard that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my boy Joel, and he curated all the beers that you see here.
Oh, nice. He's got good taste. Yeah, and shout out to Joel because he was one of the people that we were connecting with to kind of make this happen.
Absolutely.
So, all good, all good.
Now,
And-
going back to the drafts and Prosecco, I see you also have liquor.
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, in the beginning, the sampler, when it was here, it was just strictly beer.
Yeah.
I think within maybe the second year, maybe 2014, they started introducing it. They had a list. It was pretty extensive, but I think even when Joel was here, he didn't really know much about it. Joel was a beer guy. But they've always kept it. They kept it, until we took over. So now it's something that we're just going to keep going. I know what I like. There are certain bourbons that I like. There are certain whiskeys that I like. There are some, I guess they're more commercial. So like we have a bottle of Few, Four Roses. Guys that like whiskey, there's a Jameson's up there. But it's a craft beer bar, so we also got Jameson's IPA, Castmates IPA, or the Castmates and stout.
Yeah.
Still keeping in the whole.
Well, I think the
What
history
it is
behind it.
craft beer.
The history behind it, as far as I was concerned, as a former owners, they actually have a liquor store in the city. So they wanted to make this a liquor store.
Yeah.
However, at the time they were doing it, there was one opening up around the corner. So they were like, oh man, they have to reprogram the whole business plan, and they made it a craft beer place. Yeah.
Interesting. That is
Okay.
interesting. So now you guys also have bottles and cans. Roughly, rough estimate, how at any given time, how many bottles and cans would you guys say you guys have here for sale?
I would say in total, maybe 200 different types, or more or less, right?
Because I'm looking at it over here. I mean, you got a full wall here of bottles and cans.
That's just what's here. That's not including the stuff that's in the walk-in. So
Right.
it could be anywhere 200, 300. All the bottles that are on the wall right now, we have everything cold there as well.
Yeah.
There's a version of whatever's down at the bottom here. Same thing that's in the fridge. So there's a lot of little stuff between 15 packs, 12 packs, and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit. So I guess we're running anywhere between 200, 300 total.
Nice.
Bottles and cans.
And you can do so. I noticed you guys have 4-packs, 6-packs, and you can take those to go. Somebody just wants to
Yes.
come. They're on the
Well,
run.
that was the other thing. Initially, you can come in here, you can either drink, or you can take it as it being like a retail spot. The only thing, and again, this is Joel. Joel came up. Before a lot of it were growlers.
Yeah.
Some people are getting away from it, but at least if you come in here, you can mix and match whatever you want.
You have that option.
You don't
Yeah.
just have to come in here and get, we do have, set cases, 12 Jack Abbey's Ale, or even
Yeah.
Dogfish, whatever's around. Just pick and choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
So at least you have that variety that's there.
But also remember that the old sampler, they had shelves and shelves lined up, all across the wall of just straight up beer. It's like a library of beer, which is pretty cool and to see. But realistically, it's like there was some beers that was sitting there for quite some time. It's like, who's actually gonna drink all that? So we narrowed it down actually for a little bit because we thought we'd just bring the special stuff, Let's bring the good stuff.
Right. And I think, it's part of that, social media culture too. People want to mix and match. They want to get their pictures up on the internet and all that. So I think that's a cool option, especially from craft beer heads like us. Like, we like variety. So it's like, even though there's a lot of good beers, I would prefer a mix and match as opposed to just buying a 4-pack or a 6-pack. So I think that's a really awesome option. So now, do you guys also allow if someone comes in and they see something in the cooler that they like, as opposed to up on the board, they can purchase that and drink that here?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool.
The only whether it's a can or the bottle, between the 20 drafts and what's there, just pick and choose whatever you want. You can stay.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
small porking fee
Yeah.
for the stuff that you guys take it out of can. If you're gonna drink it here, obviously you have
Right.
to charge that because the pricing element of it. And but
Yeah.
yeah, that's at least we're offering the option that's out there. It's like if you're not feeling something, or maybe you see something that's not on draft that, oh man, I haven't had this for a while. Let me try this. is that options there.
But when
Yeah.
real quick, that was part of it when I used to come here. I would follow the social media aspect of it was huge because I would follow what was going on.
Yeah.
I would see what they had on tap because it was always changing. If I'd come in, I'd see what was there. If there was something that I didn't like particularly, it wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just pick something, I'd just pick a bottle, pick a can,
Right.
whatever it was, and I'll just go from there. So at least with that, there's such a big variety, you can choose from.
Right, and what I like is that I a place like this, I come here, I can have a couple of beers on draft, and then when I'm leaving,
Right.
I can get that to go.
Absolutely, and that's what I used to do when I came here. If they had something that was on tap, all right, I'll have to get a growler. If not, no big deal. I'll drink whatever's
Right.
here. There's a couple of things here that either my wife or somebody else might like. I pick it and I take it to go. So
The other thing we also see a lot here since we've been open is, people come out of the train. This is a block with the train station, the Jefferson Jefferson Street train stop.
Yeah, right off the L.
On the L train, right here, right up the block. You can come right in and just grab a six-pack. If you don't have time, on a weekday, just take it home and watch whatever it is you're going to do with it. And just that's a great option to have.
Very cool. Now, how hard is it, managing? I know you guys said you're firefighters, managing that and owning this business.
Well, being a firefighter and owning the business?
Yeah.
See, we're very fortunate. I mean, FDNY offers an incredible schedule. So we have a lot of time off, so to speak. We work 24-hour shifts. We're off for a few days. But to tell you the truth, the ins and outs of this spot comes from Joel. He runs it.
Absolutely.
That's why he was key for us in general. He curates the beer. He deals with the distributors and the brewers and manages even the staff. He came with a whole full set of staff. These guys all came from the Bronx. They were like, they believe in this. I mean, Joel and his crew, they're all about the beer. They live and dream. They have an uptown
They
society.
believed in
right?
this. The main thing is that they believed in Joel. And then in turn, it was us. Joel was on the extreme short list. He was it.
Yeah.
And if Joel couldn't do it, we would have to figure out another way. And he had other things that were going on, but when it came up, it was something that he was like, all right, this might be it. But when he came in with with his staff, and like I said, they believed in him, and everything just kind of turned into what it is right now.
Well, a lot of
So
stuff
it all
with him
kinda
is
worked.
like, he started here. So he started the whole craft. He was one of the first employees at the sampler. He learned the business. And after he left from here, he had 4 or 5 years to really learn every aspect of it. He became a cicerone. I mean, the kid has the energy. He's got passion. He wants to do something, it gives us older guys hope that, the youth got, they got some spark in them, they're about the business, what I mean?
He's gonna love this episode.
We can't say that. I mean, I wish he was here because
He's gonna love it, but I know he's gonna be upset. That
Yeah, he'll
he's
be
not
tight.
here.
He'll be like,
Yeah.
because he's like one of these kids that are dying to get on Vice or something like that, And he should be, by the way. So if y'all listening, come check out Joel.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna say and ask. Talking about how you have all these options, right? Like you can get cans to go, you can get beers here, or whatever. I also do appreciate that you have multiple sizes. You can get small,
Absolutely,
big.
yep.
Like personally, I'm one of those people. If I can't do a flight, even if it's just smaller pours, to try a few. Much better that way.
Yeah.
But you're talking about social media. Be like, oh, something popped up. I want to check it out. What's new? What's going on? Are you guys planning to get on like beer menus or
Well,
on
yeah,
tap
we're already.
so that people know what's up?
Yeah, that's where Joel comes in.
Beer menu is updated, by
Yeah.
the way. We constantly be on top of that. So whatever beers you see there, it's what's on. Is what we currently have.
In the beginning, again, I followed everything that was going on here. Like my wife and I would come here, and I was just explaining. They used to do beer and cupcakes. So they do a pairing. They do pies. So they'd have different beers paired with pie. So I followed all these little things. They say, oh, let's go check this out. They even did a whiskey tasting here. So all these things would come up. And again, they were on, like I would go to beer menus, I would see, or even go to their website. But then what Leo brought up, there was a slow decline in things. Okay, now I go to beer menus, hadn't been updated. So now they're not on there anymore. You go to the website, You know,
It's not running right now.
Yeah,
So
bear
with
beer
us.
list
Working
is,
on that.
Yeah, the beer list is not updated. So now you can, there were little things that were going on. I would still come in, but it was easier just to go through that and follow it. So now Joel comes in, Joel across the board. Joel will handle, like I might do certain things on Facebook. We can both, or all of us can actually get on Instagram and do certain things. The Facebook page is a little bit different because it has to be like more of a business thing.
Yeah.
So I have to, you'd have to boost certain things to try to get, to cover the range of exposure and stuff like that.
Right.
But he came in, he had everything laid out, who will have to contact, what we have to do.
It's almost like he was sitting there waiting. He had this plan. He's like, I just need a chance, man. And he went and he ran with it. I'm telling you, he took that baton and took it across.
Absolutely.
Wow. So let me ask. So when you guys are not drinking the beers here, what kind of beers you guys drinking? Whether it be craft or not craft, and what kind of breweries you guys really checking for?
I stay local. I mean, the guys from Finback, I usually go to because it's not too far. Bridge and Tunnel, obviously, is not too. It's walking distance from where I live at. And Rich is awesome. He's always has great stories to say. The guys from KCBC have been amazing, supportive to us. We're actually in collaboration with a beer with them coming up soon. Interborough, anything local around this area, I'll stop by. Other half every once in a while, I'll go to also.
So are you able to speak about the collaboration beer with KCBC?
Well, it's in the works. Let's just say it's the Latino-based fruits and it's something decent. And that's something that we're trying to incorporate in what the sample is about. I mean,
Right.
We're all about the culture, so whether it's the art, and the beer, we want to see certain ingredients involved with beers, and everybody's willing to do that. If they're willing to work with us, that's awesome,
Okay. Very cool.
It might be something, it's in the works. We're going to meet with them on Sunday. We already talked about what it's going to be like, and hopefully in the near future, be out there. You're going to try it out right here at the sampler.
But listen, when we were going through our process and all the negotiations back and forth,
That's where we would hang out.
we would leave here.
They're literally a block away.
Yeah,
so.
we'd go over there. Craft culture was big. We'd go there.
Yeah,
we
like,
go to craft
let's
culture.
go to craft culture. We'll go there.
Good spot.
We
Great
speak.
spot. We did an
whatever.
episode with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
go there. All right. We drink, and the next thing you know, all right, the meeting's over. We just drink the rest
And
of
it's
the
funny,
time.
he went through his challenges too, which is like, you know what, you got to give props.
Yeah.
You just got to follow through and keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard,
It
especially
ain't easy.
anywhere, but especially here in New York, just going through the process
Yeah.
of getting something up and running. It's everyone has their own stories of how difficult, and they got their own horror stories and shit. So but it's great when it finally happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you guys have like themed events and like themed nights going on here too.
Yes. So we're just closing up on the, especially on the graffiti art and urban art in general. Doesn't necessarily have to be just graffiti, but urban art in general. Pay homage to the old school cats that started it off, like Eric Orr, Crash, and Cyanide, and Samo, who was an artist who used to write with Basquiat, and Eric Orr, who invented the first hip-hop comic book, and he's been instrumental in getting these guys here. And we just want to keep it on. Next month, we're preparing for the Black History Month, so we're going to showcase a lot of black artists, and they're already, the love has been incredible. They want to show their work here, which is what I really want to show and want to incorporate and educate people on. What great is it to be able to kind of museum quality work and having some great beer to go with it,
Yeah, absolutely. And now you guys mentioned obviously KCBC and local guys have been very supportive. How's the craft beer community been in general? How have they received you guys?
They've been absolutely phenomenal. They really have. I mean, the guys from KCBC, they were here from the soft opening to the grand reopening, even just coming through.
Lineup,
yeah.
Katarina has always been on board, and it's just honestly that's one thing. It's a great question because I wasn't really around the craft beer culture. Now that I'm in it, it's like going to these events and just it's not that big of a culture. They're still growing as you go, but so you always bump into these same peoples here and there, and it's just the passion is amazing, and I'm learning a lot as I go by. I can't tell you the citrus or the fruit or whatever a hop this is, but I can tell you if it's good or not. But they, these guys break it down for me, and I love that. It's like, okay, I'm learning from this. It's cool.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. So now, what do you guys? So obviously, you guys have been open a few months. What are you envisioning for the immediate future and long term future of the sampler?
Well, the immediate, I mean, Joel has a lot of, like you mentioned, themed events.
Yeah.
So, February's black artists, photographers, stuff like that. March, he has something set up where we're going to feature all women artists and photographers. So there's always going to be a little something. Joel was big in the skateboard community. Him and Leo are both, big with the graffiti, old school and stuff.
Yeah.
So there'll be stuff that's, playing on the projector. But
yeah.
he's got movie night. They're going to be a bunch of different little things. Even when if there's a particular theme for the month, there might be little things
That ties
in between.
in. Yeah.
In between those
Yeah,
weeks.
we want to introduce like the whole urban lives, like the whole New York gritty with the new, and we haven't introduced the food yet. There's that aspect that we want to touch upon. I think y'all gonna love when we start having our Sancocho Sundays, which is
Nice.
some empanadas. That's like a nice hangover helper for whoever wants. And then you right here to keep it going too.
Nice.
Now, changing gears a bit, you guys kept the name of this sampler. How important was that for you guys?
They fought me on it. Well, maybe not so much Leo. I know Joel, because you know what it was? Joel wanted to break away because of, I guess, part of the memory that was there. It was, some
Yeah,
little
a
things that went
personal
on.
thing.
Yeah. But for me, and for what my wife does for a living, when again, going back to the social media and the way everything is done, it was huge. Because the name was already established.
Yeah.
Following reviews, ratings, Foursquare, Yelp, Google.
Right.
Again, that was a big issue because it would make it a lot easier. There were names that we came up with, but now you change the name. Now you're kind of jumbling around what was already established.
Well, the thing is, the sampler was known for its core, which is the beer, and that's what they're famous for. I mean, what made them what people love, and especially in the craft beer culture. So we wanted to make sure that people understood that, we're gonna keep. That's our core too. It's all about the craft beer. We're gonna have the best beer possible. I mean, you just needed better management. That's all what it came down to. So it's like, why change something that's not really broken? I mean, it was a little broken. Let's fix it. Let's keep it going. Let's make it even better.
Okay.
So now, if someone comes in, let's say someone walks in off the street, they're not a craft beer person, right? But they're curious. What would you guys say to them, or what would you guys, recommend for them to give a try?
Phenomenal question. We thought about that a lot. Like, I was a guy that, like I said, I went through Brooklyn Brewery for, since when they first opened up. So we had a lot of, me and my buddies, there's like a handful of us at that time that used to do that. So there was most of the people that we hung out with never even like, oh, why are you drinking that crap for? So it was more like, let's start introducing. But now, it's become popular, and these guys are like, die hard, if they try to, type of people, but now we start introducing them slowly about the craft. Now they can't touch that other crap. They're like, they can't have it. So this is the kind of education we want to have here. And it starts just by introducing them something a little bit more lighter, maybe a lager pilsner or something that'll gear them towards. Right. Let's try this afterward. And then you'll develop a palate. Like, I'll tell you, it's not easy to have a sour from the get, So you don't want to, you can't introduce somebody into that, So with the flights, so good. And I have family that never really had craft beer, but they come over because they're supporting. So I'm like, all right, let's have a little sampler, Let's start with this and then graduate up to this, and develop your palate.
Yeah, well, I tell you this.
It's all about educating.
I'm going to use the one Joel uses because Leo and I know this, but we have a little issue with a lot of the guys in the firehouse.
That's right.
They want Budweiser.
Right.
They want Bud Heavy. They want Coors Light.
That's InBev, man.
And listen, all right, that's what you like. That's fine. Right. You can go better than that. So Joel's thing is that he'll ask you, what do you like? So I remember the first time I had like a Killian's Red. I was like, oh shit, it's good.
Yeah.
It's better than what the other stuff was. And then there was you graduate. So Joel will, he'll ask you, especially if they know nothing. And we have it. People will come here. Oh, you don't have Budweiser. You don't have this. I'm like, well, it's a craft beer place.
Yeah, we're not gonna sell Budweiser.
You're not gonna have any
So-
Budweiser,
We're not
Coors,
gonna
and,
fucking do that.
So, but Joel will come in. He'll ask you. So we had the grand reopening, and there were a bunch of guys from the Firehouse that were here. But again, that's what they like, which is fine. So what did Joel do? These guys were drinking Jack Abbey's ale, and they absolutely loved it. The rep was here. He was pouring some tropical IPL. They didn't even realize what it was. All they knew was that it was good.
Right.
So that's where that kind of comes in. So now the same guys that were going and buying Budweiser or Coors Light in the case, now I have guys asking me, oh, you have that Jack Abbey's ale in a 15-pack. Jack Abbey's has a variety pack, so now they're coming buying a variety pack as opposed to doing that.
Funny, firefighters are pretty geared to tradition and
Creatures of habit sometimes.
and not changing the thing. So that was a challenge that me and Rich always laugh about. We're like, how are we gonna convince these guys to this? But Joel's like, I'll give them the blindfolded tasting test. You know what I mean?
That's fun, but I think with the craft beer, the whole thing is like exposure, right? Because people,
Absolutely.
you know what you like, and you keep going to that. But it's you don't know what's out there. A lot of people who don't know about craft beer, they don't know about all the different flavor spectrum that's out there. And
Listen,
I think,
Joel mentioned sours. All right, so I tried it. Actually, pretty good.
Yeah.
But then it's to the point where I'll drink. They were selling it here at the sampler at the time when I was coming as a customer. It's a $30 bottle of Goose Island.
nah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, all right, to me, I didn't mind spending the $30, on that. And then I took it to the next level. Yeah, Goose Island makes a lot of Belgian-style beers here in the United States. I'll go and I'll drink the Rodenbach Grand Cru.
Yep.
And I just kept, and it just kept going from there. And then your palate will kind of, evolve, and you kind of figure out, like it says, it's sour cherries, it's there was some, like if you go like on a lambic or where it's a little more fruitier, the alcohol content's not the same, but again, there's a sweetness to it, but it's not crazy. So again, it was the exposure to it, just giving it a shot. And again, the
It's
flights
funny
here,
because we
keep
were like,
going.
I would just tell people that don't know, like, when you're drinking wine, what kind of wine do you like? Do you want to buy that $2 bottle, or you want to buy a nice little, I'm going to buy this, okay?
Yeah.
Same with whiskey or rum, with anything. Beer's the same way. Let's move on up. Step up your game, my friend.
Yeah, it's the craft beer's the experience, right? You're drinking it, but it's an experience that's tied to
Whatever
drinking
happens in that, in your palate, in your mouth, it's delicious. There's certain beers that you still have that taste. You're like, oh man, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And some guys, actually, when we had our grand opening, there were some firefighters that came over. One of them drank stout. That's all he drank. So obviously, the stout, he has the Guinness. So he's like, try this Evil Twin Cocoa, Jesus Cocoa. Oh man, they were like doping on that shit. They're like, yo, I want some more of that.
Well, within that, I think within that week, they were all sold out of all the cans of the Evil Twin.
Yeah.
Which is a
So
beautiful
we had
thing.
to
Like,
get it back, and
these
now
are
they're
people we
coming
want
in
to
to get it.
educate. Exactly.
Right.
I was like, and
Very
I
cool.
want to educate the bodeguero on the corner. You know what I mean? Like, let them know what this craft beer is about, because the neighborhood, like you said, is changing, and they want to see this kind of stuff, which makes us really great.
Well,
because
listen, half the stores in the neighborhood now,
they're starting to adapt it, but they have no idea what the site. They're
but
like,
it all depends on what level it is.
it's funny because I bought a 6-pack the other day, and the guy's like, "Can't believe you're paying $15 Spanish, paying $15 for that 6-pack." I was like, $15. I'm like, oh, yeah, but. They used to sell me Budweisers here, like $6 packs.
Well, with beer, you pay. You get what you pay for.
Exactly.
It's you got to pay a little bit extra,
You
get a better experience.
You keep drinking Natty Ice and Keystone.
Or you still have that OE again. I don't know if they still have OE. Yeah, I think they do. I saw a hipster place down the block. They had that shit. I don't know why. Maybe they thought that was cool. Maybe.
So
Bring
aside
it back.
from KCBC, obviously, like fresh beer straight from the source.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you're kind of the center of craft beer in the neighborhood? Like if you want to explore the range, you know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
No doubt,
it's
absolutely.
not so much to pat yourself on the back, but I mean, we know what a lot of the other places have. And KCBC, the beer is great, but you know what? You could come here, and you're going to get a wide range. I mean, we have KCBC, whether it's on tap or in the can, but you'll kind of, I guess.
They just walked by when we were
You know-
here. They
you
came
know-
by, literally walked it over. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you're talking about brewers already established before they were that popular. That used to come. They used to mess with the sampler. You know what I mean? So now they recognize, like, oh, you guys are still here. Great. Now they're blowing up, and you know, sometimes Joel has these relationships, which is great,
Drove up.
and you know, they give us props. So
Yeah.
in that sense, yeah, we have kind of a good relationship, so to speak, with the brewers. Like I said before, like with Bridget Tunnel too. Like I was there on a Sunday night. We weren't open yet, but we were about to open. About a week later, this place was still a mess.
There he is.
I was talking to there. You know what I mean about the language?
Yeah.
My bad.
And Rich heard that I was there the night before,
Right.
and I was digging this beer that he had. He had Diogenes Stout, Imperial Stout. And I was like, man, I want this for my opening. Sure enough, I think it was Dan or somebody told him about it. He came here literally the next day with a keg. And he's like, yo, I heard that you wanted this. And that's where I met him. And then obviously we stood here for about an hour talking because he just has amazing stories. And that's a relationship we have.
We hope you enjoyed our show with Leo and Rich. Good times for sure. Want more? Need more? We got you covered. We continue the conversation with Leo and bring in Joel Suarez of the Sampler to kick it with the crew. Joel is a good dude and he's got a lot to say, so you don't want to miss the next episode. Stay tuned. It's dropping tomorrow. Follow the Craft Beer Odyssey. Check out Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, drink local, drink fresh, repeat.